Shabbat Shalom. My name is Rabbi Dunner. Welcome to my weekly Dvar Torah, this week for Parshat Vayechi. At the beginning of Parshat Vayechi, Yaakov blesses Yosef's sons, and he tells Joseph that in the future people will bless their children with the formula Yesimcha Elokim Ke'Ephraim u'Menashe. Targum Yonasan ben Uziel translates the pasuk and then adds two words, B'yoyma de Mahulta, which means that the blessing formula of Yesimcha Elokim Ke'Ephraim u'Menashe is something to be used as a blessing for a baby on the day of his bris milah, of his circumcision. The Ksav Sofer asks a very simple question. Why does the Targum Yonasan feel the need to emphasize that the blessing will be given to a baby at his bris milah? It's not something that's mentioned in the pasuk, and even if there was a custom to use this blessing at a bris milah, the Torah doesn't specify it, so why bring it up? The Ksav Sofer answers by telling us that Ephraim and Menashe followed different paths in life. Ephraim was more devoted to spiritual growth, while Menashe was much more in touch with mundane matters of the world. Our role as parents, he says, is to give our children the choice and the opportunity to follow either one of these paths. But the fact of the matter is this: if a child spends his formative years in a non-spiritual environment, the choice is made even before the child realizes there are two paths to choose from. How many times have I heard from parents, we need to give our kids a good grounding, a good education, and when they mature, they can have the choice of how to move forward. We don't want to push God and religion down their throats. When they're ready, they will decide for themselves. The Ksav Sofer strongly disagrees. He says that at that later stage it's no longer a choice. The structure of life is already in place, and it will require a profound shift in direction to choose a path devoted exclusively to Torah. Of course there are youngsters who do that, but at that point in life it is no longer an equal choice. If you push off Torah study until the later teen years, then in many, if not most cases, the goal of becoming a true Talmid Chacham and being devoted to God, just like Ephraim, is already out of reach. That's why Targum Yonasan wanted to emphasize this point, that from the very first moment in life, a child must be given a full Ephraim opportunity. And that's why Ephraim comes first. Yesimcha Elokim Ke'Ephraim. It's a powerful idea, but to be honest, it's a little heavy. The Ksav Sofer is saying that there's no real choice. Either you go the Ephraim way, or you're a complete failure. There are good people, and then there are Menashe people. Like a friend of mine once told me, he's a real meat lover. He said that there are two types of kosher restaurants, good ones and dairy ones. You get the message. To be fair, there are historical reasons which explain why the Ksav Sofer took such a strong stand. He inherited a battle that began with his father, the Chasam Sofer, who waged a bitter ideological war against the reform movement in Europe. Stressing the importance of a pure Torah education as an insurance for the survival of Judaism was an intrinsic part of that struggle. But my feeling is that we can read the pasuk slightly differently, particularly as nowadays we have more kids studying in yeshivas than at any point in Jewish history. When I was growing up, there was no question of whether I would go to a Jewish day school, and then to a Jewish high school, and then to a post-high school yeshiva. The only question was how many years I would stay in yeshiva after high school, and then after marriage. I think it's fair to say that today the Ephraim choice is very strongly represented. With that in mind, I want to talk about the kid from an Ephraim-centric system who might do well studying law, or medicine, or social sciences, or art, or something that isn't found on the pages of the Talmud, but finds himself trapped in front of a Gemara for 12 hours a day until he's in his 20s, because society expects him to be an Ephraim. And the situation is no different for girls. Perhaps it's even worse. These kids struggle in the system. Given half the chance they are on the internet or on a smartphone, and Torah and Judaism is the last thing on their mind. Was this really the example set by Yosef? Is this what it means to be an Ephraim? If anything, Yosef was the opposite. Outwardly he behaved like an Egyptian prince, but inside He was filled with godliness and spirituality. Our modern-day Ephraims may look like tzaddikim on the outside, but inwardly they are no different than any other kid, looking to have fun in any sphere other than the imposing Jewish environment they are in. Actually, it's these kids who are prime candidates to excel by becoming great Menashes. If they would receive a balanced education with Torah skills matched by general education skills, they would become fine, upstanding members of society, and at the same time they could be the best Jews that one could be, doing chesed and being paragons of midot and yirat shamayim. And by the way, that is why the blessing is not Yesimcha Lekim K'Ephraim, period. Not at all. It's a combination of both Ephraim and Menashe. Yaakov Avinu wanted us all to be hybrids of Ephraim and Menashe. He was telling Yosef that he wanted his descendants to value Torah, to spend time in Torah study, to keep mitzvot, to love the land of Israel. But at the same time, they should be part of the world, just like Menashe. Of course, Vayasem et Ephraim lifnei Menashe. Yaakov put Ephraim before Menashe. If a child has the aptitude and the ability to become a great Talmud Chacham, a great tzaddik, it is only right that we encourage them to develop that ability and talent to become a full-fledged Ephraim. But that doesn't mean the alternative is a failure. Targum Yonason is telling us not to raise our children on a one-track system of Yesimcha Lekim K'Ephraim, and then years later, if that doesn't work out, reluctantly accept that they will amount to no more than a Menashe. Yesimcha Lekim K'Ephraim v'chimnashe. We need both on equal terms, and we need to ensure that we have a rich, vibrant, Torah-true society, good Jews, educated in Torah and also educated in everything else. That is the greatest blessing of all. And anyone who denies this truth is denying the blessing of our founding father, Yaakov Avinu. Wishing you Shabbat Shalom and all good things for you and your family. Good Shabbos, good Shabbos.